Are you serious, Clark? Trust the profits. It's the formula here, and it's been a while. Haven't seen you since Breeders' Cup, really. So decided to dust off the old camera today and start talking about the Clark Stakes. What are the Clark Stakes? It's a race that will be run November 25th, aka Black Friday, at Churchill Downs. It's a G3 race featuring 7 horses going 9 furlongs on dirt. Let's go ahead and dive into this, shall we? First up, we have West Willpower 5-2. These are not in order in which they're drawn, by the way. West Willpower 5-2, 3 races, 2 wins, 1 second place in 2022. Those 3 races, the Fiat Stakes, an impressive win there, beating Folsom and Last Samurai, who were also in this race by 7 lengths. Previously won a 100K AOC race by 2+ lengths, and before that came in second place to Injunction, also in this race. Uh, head lost by a head at the Cowboy Jones Stakes. This is a Brad Cox horse. Luis Saez on the mount. West Willpower, one of the favorites going into this one. Injunction, the one we just talked about at the Cowboy Jones Stakes. 7 races, 2 wins, 2 second places, 1 third in 2022. Second at the ACAC Stakes, trailing Senior Buscador by less than 2 furlongs in that race. Is a big open field there. Won the Cowboy Jones Stakes, an impressive second to 3 Technique. Don't hear that very often. In the Knicks Go Overnight back in May. Uh, Definitely a horse that we think will be favored to finish in the money. Injunction at 6-1. Interesting horse there. Moving on to Trademark. 8 races, 1 win. The most recent race in 2022 was a 120 allowance race, beating Ethereal Road, Actuator, Creative Minister, Pioneer of Medina. There was a list of pretty impressive horses that Trademark beat in that race. But previous to that, you start to see a lot of head scratchers. As you can see from the record in 2022, only the one race finishing in the money, and it was the most recent one. So which horse are you going to get here? Are you going to gamble at a 20-1 odds that you're going to get the horse that you saw in the very last race that beat a lot of really good horses, or is he going to regress back to his mean? So curious to see what's going to happen there. Another thing to note on Trademark, which makes him very interesting, Martin Garcia, his only mount on this horse was the previous race. So maybe that had a difference. Maybe he found a jockey match up there, 20-1. Very curious on Trademark. Folsom, we talked about Folsom a little bit before. Distant second at the Fayette, 6 lengths behind to West Willpower. Before that was fifth at the ACAC Injunction, one of the horses that was ahead of him. This is another Cox horse, one of the 2 in this race. 3 wins in 6 races in 2022 for Folsom. Proxy, 7-2, 5 races, 1 win, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, 100% in the money in 2022. And that's even running in G2, G3 races. That's really going to factor into my decision here. Most recent race was third at the Stephen Foster behind Olympiad and American Revolution. So we're talking about some pretty high level horses here. You got a BC Classic second place horse in that race there. The Ben Ali Stakes lost to Scalding and Dynamic One. Noel Rosario is going to be on the mount for Proxy. Rich Strike. Yeah, we talked about Rich Strike a lot on these previews here. We touch on a lot of Rich Strike races. So obviously the winner of the Kentucky Derby, don't need to beat that to death. Most recently was 12 lengths, 11 lengths behind Flightline at the BC Classic. Everyone knows that. Before that was impressive at the Lucas, and got to give Rich Strike credit there. That was probably the race where he said, okay, this wasn't really a fluke what we saw at Kentucky Derby. It looked really good versus Hot Rod Charlie, one of the top horses in the nation. Very winnable race here for Rich Strike. At 2-1, he is the favorite. Eric Reed, Sonny Leone. At 9 furlongs, is that the right length for them? I'm not exactly sure, but Rich Strike definitely a contender here. And Last Samurai, 20-1, 6 starts, 1 win. That win was at the Oaklawn Handicap in April, going 9 furlongs to beat Fearless by 4 lengths. Final time of 149. Since then, has looked very outmatched. Stephen Foster, 7th to Olympiad, Mandaloun, American Revolution, Charlestown Classic, 5th to Art Collector. Tyler Gaffalione's on the mount here, so that's kind of interesting for Last Samurai, but again, hasn't looked exactly thrilling in 2022. Definitely not when compared to some of the horses in this race. In terms of the rest, I've got nothing else for you here. I've got 7 horses. We went through all of them. So what are we going to do here? I honestly like Proxy in this race. I know Proxy only has the one win this year, but every other race has been really close, has been racing in a lot of G2s and G3s. So it's up to the challenge here. Uh, West Willpower and Rich Strike being the other two in front of him. I'm not really thrilled about either one of those, especially at the price. West Willpower, I think he's proven quite a bit, but Proxy may have proven a little bit more racing in higher level races. So I'm going to give the nod to Proxy this time around. If you're going to place a key on Proxy, I would add in West Willpower Injunction, who I also really like at 6-1, and then Rich Strike in there. You can't really ignore Rich Strike in a 7-horse field, especially with some of the horses that are in here as well. Trademark, kind of interesting at 20-1. If you want to throw a long in there, I think it would be Trademark for me. And that's all I got. Anyhow, so thank you for joining. Who are you going to pick for the Clark? Throw it in the comments and let us know what you think. Go ahead and subscribe and hit the join button if you want to look into our memberships to see what our tip sheets look like, either on Saturday purchases in the Rich Strike level or for the Flightline purchases. You get at least, and usually we go 4 or 5 races per week. So check out those deals and thank you. See you guys later.